Have you ever wondered what happens after death? I didn't think about it until I walked across the thin line between life and death. I am Liliana, an ordinary woman with a simple life with her small family. But one fateful morning, in the blink of an eye, I was swept into another world, where there was no more time, no more pain, only light and mysteries that had never been revealed. I met Jesus, and he showed me an amazing truth about the mysterious M mark on every person's hand. Now, I want to recount that strange journey, a story that not only changed my life, but may also change the way you see yourself and the world around you. I live in a small, peaceful town where the winding streets are shaded by green trees and the sound of birds singing every morning. My small house is nestled in an alley full of flowers, with a porch covered with hanging vines. My life is simple, but filled with family warmth. Every day, I wake up early and prepare breakfast for my husband and children before they start the day. I love the feeling of stepping outside in the fresh morning air, passing by small shops with the scent of coffee and freshly baked bread. The road leading to the market is always crowded. Stalls display all kinds of fresh vegetables, meat, and fish that have just been brought in since early morning. I like to stop and chat with familiar sellers, listening to small stories about their lives. Those little things make up a part of me, a part of a simple but precious life. That day, like any other day, I hurriedly walked quickly on the stone sidewalk, clutching an old but familiar rattan basket. In my mind, I only thought about getting home in time to cook breakfast so that my family could have a perfect start. But I didn't know that, with just one careless moment, my life would take a completely different path. But that rush changed everything. When I set foot on the road, a bright light suddenly swept through the corner of my eye. The roar of the engine and the shrill screeching sound of the brakes rang out as if tearing apart the space. A terrible impact force hit me straight, throwing my body into the air. Time seemed to stop. I felt myself floating, weightless, before being pulled down to the pavement with a violent thump. A pain tore through every muscle. Hot blood flowed down his forehead and seeped onto the cold road surface. I tried to breathe, but the air was stuck in my throat. My eyes blurred, images around me distorted, and my consciousness began to fade into deep darkness. Instead of feeling scared, I was engulfed in a magical feeling of peace, as if all my worries and pain had disappeared. The space around me became surreally quiet, leaving only my heartbeat echoing in the endless void. Suddenly, a warm light flashed in the darkness, not dazzling but soft and seductive, like a call from another world. I couldn't resist. An invisible force pulled me towards it, as if I was embarking on a journey beyond the boundaries of reality. An invisible door opened before my eyes, taking me on a spiritual journey that I had never imagined. The invisible door opened, and immediately, I entered a never-before-seen fantasy world. Before my eyes is an endless meadow stretching to the horizon. The gentle light, like the morning sun, covers everything in a magical golden color. The glowing flowers sway gently with each gentle breeze, scattering phosphorescent spots in the air that sparkle like thousands of tiny stars. In the sky, soft strips of light curl like luminescent silk ribbons, reflecting countless brilliant colors. The air is filled with a pure fragrance, both familiar and strange, like a blend of the scent of field flowers and the breath of the universe. Everything was quiet, but filled with sound. Melodious melodies resounded from invisible lights, as if the symphony of heaven was singing to greet me. In the distance, a clear stream wound its way through glowing rocks, the water reflecting the brilliant sky like a giant mirror. I stepped forward, my feet feeling weightless, as if I were gliding along the ground instead of walking. A gentle breeze passed by, carrying with it the sound of gentle whispers, like ancient souls recounting the secrets of the universe. As soon as I stepped through the invisible door, a surreal scene appeared before my eyes. A vast land stretches to the horizon. The sky is filled with magical lights, alternating between blue and bright yellow colors. The air carried a pure fragrance, like the scent of young grass mixed with a strange scent of flowers never before seen on Earth. Clear streams flow through luminescent rocks. The water reflects the sky like a mirror. In the distance, mist-covered mountains. Their peaks seemed to blend into the endless universe. I no longer felt gravity. My steps were as light as gliding on the ground, without the heaviness of my body. Around me, streams of light moved slowly, like living entities with souls. They hover in space, emitting melodious sounds as if this were the music of the universe. I looked up, feeling like I was merging into this world, a world with no pain, no time, only endless peace and mystery. Then suddenly, a brilliant light appeared before my eyes, covering the entire space with surreal beauty. I felt like I had entered another world, a brilliant garden stretching endlessly, where glowing flowers swayed gently in the wind, and clear streams meandered around luminescent rocks. The space was filled with a melodious melody, as if the universe itself was resounding a peaceful song, welcoming me. Not a bright or intense light, but a gentle, inviting halo. It feels as if it has been waiting for me for a long time. I stepped into that light, and instantly the entire weight of the world was lifted from my shoulders. A feeling of lightness enveloped me, as if I was dissolving into something greater than myself. The light was not only bright, but also carried an indescribable warmth, as if it had consciousness, enveloping me with gentleness and understanding. In the center of that stream of light, a shape gradually appeared. A figure, but not just an ordinary person. It was a majestic, tall presence, with deep eyes that seemed to be able to see into every corner of my soul. I didn't need anyone to tell me. I knew it was Jesus. He stood there without needing to speak, but I felt boundless love from him. An absolute acceptance, no judgment, no doubt, just pure love. In that moment, I realized that he had always been there, watching over me through every moment of my life without me even knowing. Suddenly, a gentle light radiated from my palm. I looked down in surprise and noticed a symbol slowly appearing on my skin, a glowing M, as if engraved by the light of this world itself. Until now, I still thought they were just normal palm lines, but now they glow like a sacred mark. Jesus gently raised his hand, his eyes shining with affection and understanding. "Do you know what this sign means?" I shook my head, my heart pounding from a vague but profound feeling. His voice rang out, not only in space but also in my mind, as if those words had always been there, just waiting for me to recognize them. "This is not a random mark, Liliana. It is a symbol of mission, of benevolence and realization. Those who bear this mark are those who have responsibility for the world, those who have the ability to change and impact the lives of those around them." His words resonated within me, awakening things I had never thought of. I'm not a normal person. None of us are normal people. We all have a purpose, a path, a mission that sometimes we ourselves do not even realize. Jesus looked at me, his eyes penetrating my soul as if he had always known who I was, what I had been through, and what I was looking for. This mark is not just a symbol, Liliana. It is a reminder, a proof that you have been chosen to carry out a noble mission. People with this mark often feel an invisible burden on their shoulders, a responsibility that no one gives them but is always present. It is the responsibility to love, support, and change the world in a way that only you can do. I looked down at my palm. The M mark still radiated a gentle light. But what can I do? I'm just an ordinary person. He smiled, his eyes filled with deep understanding. No one is ordinary when they carry love and compassion within themselves. Your every action, every word, every thought creates ripples. When you choose to love instead of hate, when you help instead of turning away, when you forgive instead of revenge, you are fulfilling your mission. His words do not sound like a command, but like an obvious truth, a truth I have always known but never fully understood. A gentle breeze passed by, carrying with it the breath of awakening. I am no longer who I was before. I saw it, I understood it, and I couldn't turn my back on it. Suddenly, another door appeared before my eyes, glowing in the middle of an unreal space. Unable to resist my curiosity, I walked in, and immediately, a cold feeling swept across my skin. Before my eyes was no longer a land filled with light, but a dark tunnel stretching endlessly. The surrounding walls seemed to be made of shimmering darkness, occasionally flashing faint rays of light like memories trapped in time. No sound, no wind, just me and the dim road ahead. I walked, each step echoing as if this space was swallowing my every movement. Then suddenly, out of the darkness, flickering images appeared, fragments from my own life. I see the moments I once forgot, the joys I once had, the mistakes I once made. Everything revolves around me, like ghosts silently reminding me of the past. I realize that every action I take, no matter how small or big, leaves a trace in the flow of time. The joy I brought to others, the hurt I once caused, it all still exists, still impacting the world in ways I never thought possible. But Jesus doesn't judge me. He did not blame me for my mistakes, but just helped me understand that everyone has the opportunity to change and improve themselves. I'm not stuck in my mistakes, but given the opportunity to continue writing my story. I was lost in thought, questions swirling in my mind like waves crashing on the shore. Suddenly, a warm presence enveloped me. I turned around and saw Jesus standing there. His eyes were gentle but penetrating everything in my heart. He raised his voice. His voice echoed not only in space but also in my very soul. Do you know what the M mark on your hand really means? I looked down at my hand. The M mark still emitted a gentle light, like a mystery that had never been discovered. Jesus continued, his voice as quiet as a cosmic whisper. This mark is not only on your hand, Liliana. It appears on many people, but not everyone recognizes or understands its meaning. This is not a random mark, but a sacred mark, engraved on your soul as a testament to the mission you carry. I looked up at him, my heart pounding with a feeling of both overwhelm and desire to know the truth. What is that mission, sir? He looked at me affectionately. Those who bear this mark are special souls, given the ability to deeply feel the world around them, pain, joy, the invisible movements of love and compassion. They are not born just to exist, but to guide, to heal, to illuminate the path for others. Each of their actions, no matter how small, can create far-reaching effects that they themselves sometimes do not realize. I felt every word he said seep into my soul, as if some distant memory had just been awakened. Jesus continued, the M mark is a reminder. It connects souls with a common mission, like stars in the sky together forming a brilliant galaxy. Each person with this mark has their own path to carry out their mission. Some sow love, some transmit knowledge, some heal wounds both physically and mentally. But they all aim for one thing: spreading light amidst darkness, bringing hope to the world. His words are like a stream that purifies all doubts in me. I no longer feel lost or doubt myself. Instead, I felt an intense awakening, as if I had found a long-lost puzzle piece. I am no longer a solitary individual adrift in the infinite, but part of something larger, more sacred. Those who bear this mark, he said slowly, are often special souls who carry within themselves the ability to heal, guide, and light the path for others. They have a deep connection to the world around them, feeling pain, hope, and the subtle movement of all things. Sometimes, they may not realize their mission right away, but every experience, every difficulty, every joy in their lives leads them to awakening. The M mark is not just a symbol, but an invisible beacon, attracting souls of the same frequency, leading them to the path for which they are destined. It is an engraving of kindness, of inner light, and of the sacred responsibilities they shoulder in this world. Each person who bears this mark, God continued, will have their own way of carrying out their mission. Some heal with compassion, some enlighten with knowledge, some inspire love and kindness in others. But all are connected to each other, like stars in the sky, forming a brilliant network that helps make this world a better place. His words were an awakening in me a deep sense of purpose and connection. I suddenly understood that I was not alone. Every step I take, every experience in this life is leading me to where I belong, to the mission I was given. Jesus looked at me with eyes filled with love, a look with no judgment, but only endless understanding. Every person in this world is loved and valuable, Liliana. No one is abandoned, no one is forgotten. Mistakes do not define a person. It is how they learn and change that truly defines who they are. He continued, his voice quiet but strong. Challenges in life are not punishments, but necessary lessons for the human soul to grow. Suffering, loss, failure, all are steps leading to enlightenment. If there is no darkness, how can people appreciate the light? If there are no falls, how will they learn to stand up? His words are like cool water washing away my burdens. I felt my heart lighten, as if the invisible chains of the past were gradually disappearing. I am no longer bound by past mistakes or pain. I can choose to let go, choose to love, choose to live a new life with a deeper understanding of myself and the world. Jesus looked at me, his eyes gentle but serious. Now you see, you understand, but you have to make your own choice. I was speechless. He does not force me, does not dictate the path I must take, but lets me decide my own destiny. Before me are two paths. One is to stay in this pure world, where there is no more suffering or worry, where I can be at peace forever. The remaining path is to return to earth, where the challenges remain, where I can carry the light I have found. He placed his hand on my shoulder. His voice rang out like a warm stream. You have been given knowledge, awakened to the truth. But that knowledge is not just for you. Your mission is not over. If you choose to return, you will have the opportunity to spread light, help those who are lost. But you can also stay, rest in this peace forever. The decision is yours. I closed my eyes, feeling my heart. Images of my family, of the people waiting, of the world to which I once belonged appeared one after another. I know that my path is not over. I opened my eyes, took a deep breath, and said, my voice steady, I'll be back. A slight smile appeared on his lips. Go then, and take with you the light within you. At that moment, a beam of light enveloped me. I felt my body feel light, then suddenly I was pulled back, as if falling from a very high place. The cold air of the world rushed into my lungs. The sound of machinery rang out, and the smell of disinfectant filled my nose. I opened my eyes. I'm lying in a hospital bed. My heart pounded, but not because of fear, but because I knew I had returned. A profound change took place within me. From that moment on, I was never the same again. I chose to go back, and I will live, not just for myself, but to fulfill the mission God has given me, to bring light to the world. After returning, I realized the world was no longer the same, or perhaps it was I who had changed. What was once vague now becomes clear. I started paying attention to the people around me and suddenly realized that there were many people with the M mark on their hands, just like me. I couldn't keep my story to myself anymore. I started sharing my experiences, telling about what I saw, heard, and understood. I help people realize that the M mark is not just a symbol on the skin, but a sacred reminder of the love, kindness, and noble mission that each person carries. The M mark is the connection between humans and the Creator, a demonstration that we are not alone, that each individual has a reason to exist in this world. It is not a coincidence, but an affirmation that every soul has an important role in the larger picture of the universe. I realize that my mission is not to change the world in the blink of an eye, but to spread light, little by little, through every person I meet, every story I tell, every moment I live fully with compassion and love. After what I have experienced and witnessed, I want to send a message to everyone. You are never alone, and you're not just a small grain of sand in this vast universe. You were born for a reason, carrying light and love, and have a special mission to complete. Live with kindness, open your heart to receive and give love, because every action, no matter how small, can spread change. Please forgive, not only for others, but also for yourself, because forgiveness is the way for the soul to be freed. And most importantly, believe in your own value, in your presence in this world, because you have a purpose, a meaning, and the ability to bring good things to the world. The M mark on the hand is not a coincidence or a meaningless mark. It is a sacred testament, a reminder that each of us has a reason to exist, a path to take, and a mission to fulfill. We not only live for ourselves, but also to connect, share, and support each other in the journey of life. Each person has a unique role, whether it is a small light in the darkness or a lighthouse in the midst of a storm. Everything has meaning. Sometimes we feel lost, overwhelmed by the pressures of life, but remember that every challenge is part of training, so we can become a better version of ourselves. Night falls, darkness fills the streets. In that quiet space, the flowers in Thierry's shop seem to radiate a magical, strangely beautiful light. The delicate flower petals trembled slightly in the wind, as if they were whispering something that only those who truly listen could understand. But tonight is not like other nights. She felt something strange, like an invisible omen creeping into her mind. Not sure when, she began to hear voices coming from the flowers, whispering, vague sounds, sometimes seemingly like prayers echoing from another world. At first, she thought she was just imagining it, but with each passing day, those voices became clearer and more haunting. Thierry is the owner of a small but vibrant flower shop. She loves the beauty and charm of bright flowers, as if each petal carries a separate soul. This morning, as usual, Thierry sipped a cup of coffee, put on a simple but elegant dress, then walked out of the house and headed to the store. The street is still crowded, cars rushing by, loud horns mingling with the hurried footsteps of people going to work. The morning sunlight penetrates high-rise buildings, creating sparkling streaks of light on the road surface. But there was something in the air that made her feel uneasy. A vague restlessness clung to her, as if some invisible eyes were following her every step. She shook her head, trying to get rid of that feeling. Today was a beautiful day, and she didn't want to let idle thoughts affect her mood. She smiled. held her head high, and continued walking. Fresh flowers were waiting for her at the store, and just the thought of touching the soft petals made her feel happier. A sharp pain suddenly squeezed her chest. The pain came so suddenly that she had no time to react. Her breathing was choked. Her hands weakly clutched her chest, but to no avail. Her eyes widened in horror as she felt her body no longer obey her will. Her legs wobbled. Her knees fell to the cold ground. In a short moment, she realized that all the sounds around her were gradually becoming distant. Then suddenly, she felt light as a feather blown by the wind. "You're floating." "No, she is flying." When she looked down, she saw her own body lying motionless on the ground, surrounded by strangers rushing over. A panic invaded her mind. She looked down, witnessing passers-by rushing over, bending down to check her breathing, gently shaking her shoulders that were gradually becoming cold. Someone tremblingly dialed the emergency number. Their panicked voice rang out in the cramped space of cars still rushing by. She saw everything, heard everything, but could do nothing. She tried to scream, tried to touch her body, but her transparent hands just passed through everything. She left her body. She died. Or rather, her soul entered another world. Fear wrapped tightly around her, but strangely, inside there was a strange feeling of peace. She did not walk, but gradually drifted through a dark, empty tunnel. Around her, the darkness was thick and terrifyingly quiet. The road is long and has no end, no way out. She tried to look forward, but there was only an endless void. With each passing second, she felt more clearly an indescribable, powerful energy following her, enveloping her like an invisible force, leading her fate to a place she had never known. Suddenly, a bright circle appeared in front of her. At first, it was just as small as a dot of light floating in the endless space, but then it gradually grew, radiating more and more, gentle, warm light. A warmth spread and gently wrapped around her, making all the fears in her heart gradually disappear. She felt an overwhelming love, an invisible comfort, like someone's arms embracing her, comforting her. That circle was like a gate, constantly growing. Then suddenly, she felt an invisible force pulling her towards that light. Suddenly, a resounding sound filled the space, powerful, as if coming from a distant, unreachable realm. "Tiri, you came here because you had to witness important things." And then the space around her suddenly changed. The darkness is gradually replaced by strange but familiar silhouettes. They have no discernible form, just shimmering, translucent entities, but from them radiate an energy filled with wisdom, peace, and unconditional love. They didn't say anything, but Tiri felt that they were guiding her, showing her the way to a place destined for fate. The feeling of fear in her heart gradually disappeared, giving way to unprecedented peace and gentleness. The darkness fades, revealing an unfamiliar earth, surrounded by invisible streams of energy, streams of light that connect everything from people to thoughts. I saw prayers sparkling in space, some reaching their destination, some disappearing. Then a tear appeared. The battle between light and darkness, raging since before time began. From the bright light, a silhouette gradually appeared. Jesus appeared. He wears a simple outfit but still radiates indescribable greatness. His appearance is not at all flashy, but the radiance radiating from him is so strong that it makes the surrounding space seem to settle. When his eyes touched me, I felt like I was drawn into an endlessly vast universe. Those eyes contain a galaxy, eternity, and a vast love that humans can hardly understand. I feel like my mind is completely blank. All doubts about his existence disappeared in that moment. This is no longer a legend, a vague belief, but the truth. I am standing before the Most High. even though he knows everything about me, every joy, every sadness, even every mistake I have ever made. His gaze holds no judgment. On the contrary, it was filled with tolerance and protection, as if he had been watching over me all along. I no longer felt fear or guilt, but only a deep sense of peace. He didn't say anything at that moment, just stood there, but his presence was enough to make me feel that I was accepted, loved, and forgiven. I knelt before him, my heart beating loudly between fear and indescribable joy. The light from him envelops me, dispelling all doubts in my mind. He looked at me. His eyes contained the whole universe, gentle but full of majesty. A voice rang out, not loud, but enough to shake my soul. "Thierry, you were brought here because there were things you needed to witness." The space around her suddenly transformed, opening up a majestic and surreal scene. Before her eyes, the earth floated in the middle of the universe, not just a blue planet, but a living entity, glowing in pure light. All life, all movement, all ideas blend together, creating billowing, swirling streams of energy like the endless flow of the universe. Around it, millions and billions of voices echoed like golden threads woven in the air. They are prayers, thoughts, desires, and fears of people. Some of them sparkled, moving toward a bright source of light, while others gradually faded, vanishing into thin air, never reaching their destination. Those are prayers. Some reach their destination, others disappear into thin air, never reaching their destination. Under his gaze, the truth opens like a sacred scroll. I see the flow of energy, light and darkness interwoven in the invisible tapestry of the world. Faith, love, and kindness radiate brilliant strands of light, weaving a web that protects humanity. But on the contrary, fear, hatred, and division are like dark cracks, corrosive and weakening the balance. Jesus raised his hand. A wave spread from him, and immediately, I saw human history stretching out before my eyes like a never-ending stream. Not just recorded events, but invisible vibrations, spiritual storms that silently operate beneath the surface. I see civilizations rise in a blaze of glory and then fade away, leaving indelible marks on the passage of time. He looked at me. His eyes were like an endless ocean, containing mysteries that had never been told. "Thierry, many people have forgotten their roots, but I have come to remind," and then I saw them. A group of people stood in a circle, light shining from within, not just a reflection, but as if they were the source of light. Their aura was different, unlike any entity I had ever seen in the spiritual realm. Their presence is strong and profound, like torches in the dark night, like souls who have reached a level of truth that the rest of the world is still searching for. They are black, and I know they are more than just humans. They are entities carrying an ancient secret, an important piece of the cosmic puzzle. These people are not just ordinary souls. They are rays of light in the darkness, carrying within them a sacred energy, an unbreakable connection with the Creator. No one can extinguish the fire burning within them, because it is not something that can be blown out by the wind of life, but is a fire lit from the very breath of the Eternal One. Their prayers are not just sounds echoing in the void. They are fires that flare up in the midst of darkness, breaking the chains of despair and opening paths of light that never existed before. Every prayer is a spear piercing the night, a call to awaken sleeping souls, a reminder that they were born with a noble purpose. I see their struggles, the unspeakable suffering, the oppression they have endured from generation to generation. Hands were tied, eyes were sealed, screams were drowned out by the power of the ruler. But no matter how much they were crushed, they still did not collapse. Even though they are forgotten, they do not disappear. Even if the world tries to strangle their souls, The connection between them and God cannot be broken. Amid the sacred veil of revelation, I saw Jesus standing there, his eyes filled with understanding and boundless compassion. People looked at me, then looked at them. People who had endured so much, but had never once lost faith. His voice rang out, not just a word, but an undeniable truth. They were chosen for a great mission. They were not the forgotten ones, but those who carried within them the light of truth. In their veins flowed the blood of warriors, of those blessed with wisdom, strength, and steadfastness. But this world tried to make them forget that. They were deceived, oppressed, made to believe that they were small, insignificant. But now, the truth must be revealed. His words ring like a bell that awakens every soul. I felt a deep pain welling up in my heart. How many people have been fed lies about themselves? How many people have been made to believe that they have no value? How many people have bowed their heads and accepted a fate that did not belong to them because they did not know that they were born to walk in glory? Jesus reached out his hand, and I saw light spreading from him like waves touching every soul. They began to awaken. A fire rose in their eyes, not a fire of hatred, but a fire of awareness. They begin to remember who they really are. The chains fell, soaring voices. A vibration spread throughout space, as if the entire universe was witnessing this moment. Jesus looked at me. His voice rang out like thunder in the quiet sky. They are my warriors, my light in a dark world. They are no longer hidden, no longer bound. It is time for them to step out, strong and proud, because their time has come. And when he said those words, I knew that a change had begun. No one can stop what is about to happen, because these souls are no longer forgotten. They have awakened, and the world will never be the same. Then I saw the spirits of their ancestors, those who had gone before, those who had endured, fought, and sacrificed, praying unceasingly. Those prayers resonate through time, do not fade, are not lost, but crystallize into a sacred shield, protecting future generations from the chains of the world. They are not just simple pleas, but the fires of faith that burn brightly, like torches in the middle of the night, leading the successors through the darkness. In that sacred light, I heard the voice of Jesus, not as an ordinary word, but as a declaration, a command echoing from eternity. The world has sought to impose shackles on them, not just in the flesh, but in the soul. It has filled their minds with lies, telling them they are weak, that they are nothing in the great world. But I say that they carry within me my own strength. They say they are insignificant, but I say that they are the ones I chose before the world was founded. As he spoke, I saw the chains begin to break. But those are not just iron or stone chains, but invisible shackles, fear, suspicion, division, and the dark veils of deception that have bound them for generations. The things that have weighed heavily on their souls, making them forget their true nature, are now being broken. What once made them bow their heads, fear, and lose their way is now collapsing before the great truth. Jesus continued, his voice filled with authority but also filled with love. They are not just a people, they are a force, an army called by me, chosen by me to be the guides of the last days. They were not born to be conquered, but to lead, not to be silent, but to speak up, not to be swept along by the current of life, but to shape the destiny of humanity. I have placed on their shoulders a sacred mission, and now I am calling them back to myself. But they must awaken. They must stand up. They must shake off what once bound them and step into the place that I have destined for them from the beginning. And then I saw a change happening. People who previously bowed their heads in ignorance and fear are now raising their heads high. Their eyes lit up, as if they had just remembered something extremely important. a truth that had been forgotten for too long. They are no longer those lost in the darkness, but awakening warriors who are born to carry God's light. I see them coming out of the darkness of doubt and fear. I see them stronger, more steadfast, like ancient trees that have survived the storm, now growing stronger than ever. They are no longer bound by what the world has told them, but are starting to step into their own destiny. Jesus said, "The world will look to them, to be enlightened, to be healed, to find the path to faith. For I have placed in them a fire that no one can extinguish, a light that no darkness can cover, and through them my kingdom will be revealed." And I know something great is emerging, a revival, a spiritual revolution is beginning. People who were once trampled on, despised, imprisoned in the chains of the world are now standing up with light in their eyes and faith in their hearts. And the world, whether it likes it or not, will witness that rise, the rise of a chosen people, an army of God. He raised his hand, and instantly, the scene around me changed. The bright light went out, giving way to a chaotic and violent scene. Before my eyes was an invisible but powerful battlefield, not an ordinary war, but a spiritual war between light and darkness. I saw beings of bright light, powerful and majestic, confronting dark, twisted shapes billowing out of the night. The roar mixed with ghostly whispers, creating a terrifying sound that seemed to echo from the depths of darkness. Bright rays of light tore through the darkness, but the darkness surged forward as if to engulf everything. I saw cities covered in darkness, but in the midst of the night, bright spots of light still glimmered. People who still kept their faith, communities that refused to succumb to the forces of darkness. Jesus looked at me. His voice sounded like thunder, but still imbued with peace. This is not just a battle of power or ambition, but a battle of souls. Light and darkness always exist side by side, but it is faith and love that will decide who is the winner. I see the forces of darkness targeting weak souls, seeking to dim the light within them. I see people deprived of hope, pushed into despair, but I also see people who are resilient, who never stop praying, who never stop fighting, who never lose the light in their hearts. A profound realization flooded my mind. This is not just a battle taking place in the invisible world. This is a battle right in the heart of every person. He turned back to look at me, his eyes still filled with determination and love. "Terry, you saw, you understood, but you are not just an observer. You have a mission." I looked up at him, my heart filled with indescribable emotions. He continued, "You must return. You must convey what you have witnessed. Help them to have faith, for I am always here. I always listen, always protect them, even though, sometimes, they do not realize it. Every prayer reaches me, and I never abandon them." His words echoed throughout the space, penetrating every fiber of my soul. I felt a heavy responsibility on my shoulders, but at the same time a new strength arose within me. I am no longer the Terry of yesterday. I have changed. The light around me gradually grew brighter, drawing me into a warm vortex. His silhouette is still there, still steadfast, like a lighthouse in the middle of the night sea. Then everything suddenly blurred. Suddenly, a strong suction grabbed me. It felt like an invisible vortex was pulling me back, so fast that I didn't have time to think or resist. Everything around became chaotic. The light receded, replaced by a familiar feeling of heaviness. I felt my breathing return, each beat in my chest becoming clearer and clearer. I opened my eyes. The hospital ceiling was white, the dim light shining down on stinging eyes. Soft cries, sighs, and worried looks enveloped me. Family, friends. They are here, surrounding me. Someone's hand gently holding me, trembling with emotion. "I'm back," But I am no longer who I was yesterday. I carried an important mission, a truth that I cannot keep to myself. I have to say it. Black people must wake up. They are chosen. They must step out of the darkness and move towards their own light, because they are always watched over and protected by Him. They are not alone. They were never alone.